Oh, the cookies. Scene 1A, take 1. I'm Alison Roman, and I am making a salted butter chocolate chunk shortbread cookie, also known to some of you as the cookies. You gave it that name, not me. So this is a recipe that originally appeared in my first cookbook, Dining In. The reason I think that it's achieved the success that it has is because it is familiar. It does have elements of a chocolate chip cookie and elements of a classic shortbread cookie. And when the two combined, you get the cookies. Anytime I'm baking anything, I like to have all of my ingredients measured first before I start mixing, because what can happen is you get to the bottom of the recipe and you realize that the egg that I call for doesn't actually go into the cookies, it goes on the outside. And the flaky salt that I call for goes on top, not in the dough. And I just feel like it's nice to see everything, read the recipe, know exactly what you're getting yourself into before proceeding. I've never baked anything, by the way, without getting flour absolutely everywhere and all over myself and my loved ones and my kitchen, and it's just, you know what, whatever, we'll vacuum. I do think that the most accurate way to measure things, especially flour, is with a scale. Every time I weigh a cup of flour, it weighs almost exactly 145 grams. Oh my God, 144 grams, baby, yes! I'm in a competition with myself and I won. Let's see if we can do it again. 148, little heavy. That's fine. I feel like as long as you are within like 4 or 5 grams on either side, it's not gonna make a huge difference. Moral of the story, use a scale if you can. Now comes our sugar, which sugar almost will always weigh the same. So a quarter cup for me is probably a quarter cup for you. The way that it settles in the cup, there's not as much discrepancy. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. A good thing to know is that this dough freezes really well. The recipe can easily be doubled. Have some for now and have some for later. So our basic ingredients are here and accounted for. We have salted butter, as the name would imply, our chocolate, and I really like having a lot of different textures of chocolate in this cookie, but you know, this is like about as big as I would go. I feel like making these cookies for us right now is kind of like a video game where like each level is a new hurdle or a situation. So this is butter, this is stage 1. Actually no, measuring. Shopping is stage 1 because you need to buy the right ingredients. Measuring is level 2, and now we're at level 3, mixing the dough. Starting with the butter. I like starting with cold butter because you beat it for an eternity. I want people to really go for it. This is not a suggestion. I'm not hinting at maybe combine the butter and sugar together. I want you to cream it. I want it to be fluffy. I want it to be light. I want it to almost look like frosting. And it's not because I'm trying to waste your time, it's because you're really relying on this air, which is also what gives it that, like, when you bite into it, it feels somehow light and fluffy, almost like a puff pastry. It should be very flaky. Beating the air into it at this stage is what's gonna get you there. So I'm gonna scrape down everything to kind of make sure that all of the butter at the bottom is getting mixed with all of the sugar. All right, our butter and sugar is pretty much there. You can see in this bowl, it already looks like there's more stuff in there. And now I'm gonna add my flour. You basically wanna mix it until the dough comes together. Gonna give it a few turns. I want you to look at this dough. I always tell people that it should resemble Play-Doh. It shouldn't be dry, it shouldn't be crumbly. It should look, you know, like cookie dough. Malleable, you should be able to like make a log cabin with, I don't know, what do you do with Play-Doh? Anyone who's ever tried to wrap anything in plastic wrap, you know that it is nothing but heartbreak. And from here, we're gonna shape it into logs. And you kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just looks like a blob. So this is decidedly more square than round, but the round happens now. You just kind of roll it into a cute little log. Oh God. Where will they go? Don't look at me. Don't look in here. Oh my God. I should have thought about that before what a nightmare. Who lives here? That was embarrassing. Anyway, in they go. Thank you, good night. The cookies are taking a little nap in the fridge. They're gonna be there for at least 2 hours. Don't look in here, get out of there. Okay, it doesn't look better than the last time we went in. So I forget what level we're at in that crazy metaphor that I brought up earlier, but this is the second to last level. We're gonna roll it in egg wash. And like you're mixing paint or something, or beating an egg, which I'm sure is something that you do more often than mix paint. I like to put the sugar in like a baking dish or a rimmed baking sheet or something like that, just like you're breading a chicken cutlet or something. My analogies today are really something else. So really you're just kind of looking for a nice thin layer, which is why I like using a brush. Just kind of paint the outside, and then you can kind of just roll the cookies like this. When slicing these cookies, I go about a 1/2 inch thick. Sometimes even when I'm cutting them, the dough will crumble a little bit, and that's okay because you can kind of piece it together. It's pretty forgiving. This is probably the most common thing that will happen to my cookies when you get to like a large chunk, but I literally just put it back together. Little Humpty Dumpty situation. We all know that one? Yeah. They can go definitely closer together. These cookies will not spread. So to finish, they're gonna get a sprinkling of salt, and you're not gonna use kosher salt, you're gonna use a nice coarse flaky salt. And now they go in the oven. It's been about 11, 12 minutes, and our cookies are ready to be taken out of the oven. So you can tell they're ready because they are golden brown around the edges. They're still pretty pale in the center, but they're crispy. They smell amazing, and I think they look pretty perfect. They're little babies. Go ahead and transfer them to, one by one to a wire rack, or if I had more parchment, just kind of letting them cool here. These are the kind of cookies that are truly better at room temp. They're not like a chocolate chip cookie where you want to eat them warm. What an extremely fun plate of cookies. And my favorite one is gonna go on top. There they are, our cookies, the cookies, a cookie. Salted butter, chocolate chunk, shortbread cookie. And now comes the moment we've all been waiting for. So they should be crunchy, they should be crispy. That texture in there that is like, kind of almost like laminate-y, it's like flaky but still dense is exactly what we're looking for. I think my favorite part about them is that to me they're the best of every world. Like they have that vanilla and brown sugar and like crispy edge business that a chocolate chip cookie does, and they've got the dense buttery flakiness that a shortbread does. So to me it is like absolutely the perfect cookie. They're really good, you guys. They're really good. For the recipe and a lot more, you can check out New York Times Cooking.